But this is daily life in Ukraine, man. This is the forced mobilization in Ukraine that we see every day. We see videos like this, and I do want to actually make a point and say there is obviously a lot of civilians in Ukraine. You know, different to Israel, where it's loads of illegal settlers and pretty much 99% of the country is agreeing with what's going on. There is actually a lot of civilians in Ukraine that don't agree with what Zelensky's doing. I think at the beginning of the war, all of the people that were agreeing with what Zelensky's doing already, you know, have gone out, signed up for the army, and they've probably been killed or whatever by now. But we're now like over 2 years into this, and the only people that are left, they don't want to fight anymore. You know, even if some of them did want to fight at the beginning, they don't want to fight anymore. I promise you that. Russia has got, you know, the size of their reserve troops is bigger than the whole Ukraine army anyway. Do you know what I mean? And Ukraine wouldn't have lasted this long without our funding, without NATO's funding, without America, UK, everyone's funding. Because Ukraine are being used as like a chess piece on the board. The goal obviously is to weaken Russia. America and the UK obviously want to go to war with Russia, but they don't want to do it on their own soil. So they just do it on Ukraine instead. They do it on Ukraine soil. Obviously that way Russia takes some losses. Of course Russia takes losses as well. They lose men every day. There's been terrorist attacks in Russia, like the Moscow Crocus attack, you know, numerous drone attacks on buildings, civilian buildings, you name it. You know, there's been terrorism going all across Russia. But then obviously you've got the losses on the Ukrainian side as well. You know, the soldiers that got dragged up off the streets, kidnapped, you know, injection in their arm, put to sleep, wake up on the battlefield with an AK-47 forced to go die against Russia. And that's the sad reality about all of this, man. It's the sad reality of this is that the people in the mainstream media, you know, what they push, they don't show you this side of what's going on. They just show you, oh, you know, Russia's just doing this and that. But no, let's actually look at some shit that's been going on in Ukraine lately. So the forced mobilization in Ukraine continues. This is a video and just show you what's going on here. You can see he's clearly resisting. He clearly doesn't want to go die, as most of us wouldn't want to. That's it, kidnapped. He's probably going to wake up, you know, on a battlefield, unfortunately, and it's sad. Honestly, don't know what I'd do if I was in this position. I'd probably get myself, you know, if this was me, I'd have to try and run in with a white flag or something, you know, or some shit. I don't know. I'd have to fuck going to war for Zelensky, man. But yeah, you can see the murals are getting covered up with Zelensky now. What? No one fucking wants to see that shit. Even in Barcelona, they've had enough. So the losses of the Ukrainian army in various directions of the front of the special military operation amounts to around 1,545 servicemen per day. That's a lot. It's heavy losses. Heavy losses. And, you know, the mainstream media will never tell you that. The mainstream media try and convince us that somehow Ukraine's winning, you know, and they're not losing anybody. I mean, anyone with a brain can, you know, see that's obviously not true. But, also, 80% of Ukraine's energy has been, the infrastructure has been damaged or completely destroyed. The country's facing a difficult winter. You know, it's coming up to Christmas, cold winter times, especially in them areas as well. You know, Russia and Ukraine are known for being cold countries anyway. So I can't even imagine. Sorry. I can't even imagine how cold it's getting now because of this fucking idiot wants more money from our, you know, taxpayers and keep funding this fucking meat grinder of dead civilians, dead Ukrainians. Look, another video. A Ukrainian mother breaks down as she loses her only son who's forced to go and die in Zelensky's war.
Жіночко, успокойтеся! Ведіть себе! Скотний, блядський! Сволоч! Іди сюди! Скотина, блядь! Скот!
Yeah, man, it's sad. Like, how can you do that? How can you just tear families apart like that, man? It's definitely fucking Zionism, you know? And that's what I don't understand as well. People support Ukraine and Palestine at the same time, but the same people that are funding the genocide on the Palestinians are the same people that are, you know, funding the Ukrainians to go and die. You know, the same enemies of, the same enemies of, you know, Russia are the same enemies of Palestine. The same allies of Russia are the same allies of Palestine. You know, Lebanon, Hezbollah, Palestine, all of these countries, Iran, you know, they're all on the same side. So it really does confuse me how someone can support Palestine and Ukraine at the same time. It is strange. I mean, I understand if you don't want civilians to die, fair enough, but why are you supporting Zelensky, the government? That's literally, it's crazy. Anyway, so an eyewitness. Oh wait, this one's in Russian. There's actually another one. So these videos are out every day. I always post them on my X page. You know, guys, if you're not aware of what's going on, you should try and keep up, man, because it is bad. A resident of Seledovo told this news agency RIA Novosti how Ukrainian soldiers executed a woman by shooting her in the head. Like, this is Zionist behavior, you know. Like, how can you support this shit?
Вот здесь захоронили.
So she says, I don't know how accurate the translation is, but here, well, buried here, you know, here on the second floor in a 9-story, a woman. I guess this translation isn't the best. The Ukrainians came in. She was on the second floor. She went outside. Then says something about passport passport documents went there and never came out again. Her first brother-in-law arrived, went there, and she got shot in the head. But he buried her, took her, and drove her. So they're killing their own people, you know, just like the Zionists would do. Excuse me, I'm tired. And yeah, keep pushing for war. Obviously, the chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine stated that Ukraine is actively working on developing its own guided bombs. Like, this is not helping, you know. Like, Ukraine is getting destroyed on the battlefield. Everything's just, they're losing everything, man. And you want to keep pushing to create new bombs and shit, like. But yeah, this is what happens to Christian churches under the Zelensky regime. It's an old video that came out about a month ago, but it's always important to share these type of videos to people that didn't see. Now, what does this remind you of, guys? Let me know in the chat. Does this remind you of anybody? So yeah, that's just life in Ukraine, you know. That's what happens if you're a Christian in Ukraine. That's what they're going to do to your churches. Zelensky doesn't like Christians. He actually went around destroying all of the last remaining churches in Ukraine before this shit happened. He's banned the Orthodox church as well, because apparently it's Russian Orthodox, you know. So even if you're just a normal Russian citizen, you know, living in Ukraine, you might not even agree with what Russia's doing. You can't even go to church. They're cancelling that shit. That's satanic, man. Honestly, it's crazy. But yeah, continuous losses on the battlefield for Ukraine. The Ukrainian armed forces has lost more than 200 servicemen in the Kursk direction in one day. And then earlier today, like, the escalations are just fucking insane, man. So, this is... Oh, hell yeah, it's gone up here. So, the arrival of 5 ATACM missiles with cluster munition warheads in the vicinity of the Kalino airfield in the Kursk region. Just look how crazy these videos are, honestly. This guy's just driving in his car and look at this shit. This is fucking insane, man.
Пиздец, ебать, там хуярит, блядь. Ебать! Твою мать, блядь! Пизда нахуй!
Scary shit, honestly.
Пизда нахуй!
Like, watch that again.
Пиздец, ебать, там хуярит, блядь. Ебать! Твою мать, блядь! Пизда нахуй!
How the fuck does this bring peace? Like, Putin has been trying to, you know, call for a peace deal since the beginning of since it started. About 3 days after it happened, he called for peace. The funny thing is, after, you know, this wasn't actually meant to last this long. This was meant to be a couple of day thing. And, you know, there was peace talks a couple of days after. And then, of course, Boris Johnson steps in from the UK. And puts an end to it all. Gets in Zelensky's ear and tells him, you know, no, don't back down, you know, we'll win this, we've got your back. But, you know, we're just going to let all your men die and all this shit, but we'll give you some money. We'll make sure that it lasts for a few years. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, where's this actually end? Some more footage here from the same ATACM missiles and the clusters.
А, ну это беспилотник. Ух ты, а что это такое? И там, глянь, мам. А что это такое? Это какая-то система ПВО новая. Охренеть.
So yeah, the terrorism, you know, it's funny how it runs in the family of whoever America and the UK support.